Hey YouTube, Mike the Rinnai guy here. How we all doing today? Hope we all had a safe and productive week. Alright, today's video is probably one of the most important videos or one of the most important procedures that you would going to be doing on a tankless heater or Rinnai tankless heater, and that is the flushing of the unit. I get a lot of service calls, people that have either bought a house or have had a house built and they live in there for a few years, and then they find out that these things need to be flushed. If you go into the manual, you'll see that there is a page on just flushing the tankless heater. They should be done every year. On a commercial unit, we do them every 3 months, so every quarter we do it because it's more heavily used. So it should be done at least every year. You subscribers and you people out there that have installed it themselves in your own home, do it twice a year, because what I'm going to show you is not an expensive piece. It's something that you could buy. It'll save you quite a bit of money on having a service call done and it's a very easy procedure. All right, so what we have here is a non-condensing unit. It's actually an R75 interior natural gas unit. But this procedure is going to be for every single tankless, from the regular non-condensing to the high-end condensing, the RUR units, the Sensei units, all of them. It's all going to be the same procedure. All right? So, as long as we have the valve kits on the unit, okay, which again is very important because they give you isolation and they also give you a place for you to flush the unit out. So basically what a valve kit is isolation. And this valve kit here, and let me zoom in, I'll show you it a little better. That valve kit there is actually a Rinnai valve kit. So that valve kit would have came with the Rinnai unit. Now on the V series, the value series, you have to supply your own valve kit. And that's where a lot of installers, they don't want to spend the extra money because a valve kit could cost upwards of $100. A good valve kit could cost upwards of about $100 or better dollars. Maybe they'll just put a cold water shutoff and that's it. And there's no place for you to flush it. So you have your blue and your red, self-explanatory, hot and cold. Then you have these two ports here, which are your flush ports. Then you're going to have your relief valve. That is on your non-condensing. On your condensing, as you saw from the RUR series that I posted, and the Sensei series, the relief valve is in the center on the largest tap. Comes on a 90. You make it up and you could turn it in any direction to put your relief pipe wherever you want to. See, with this, if you face everything out front, now your relief valve's out front. We always face it to the side, and that's a nice way because then we can angle it back to the wall and down the relief pipe. Now, this is going to be for an interior unit and an exterior unit. All right, so what do you need? Well, the first thing we use, now, this is not a sponsored video. This was not given to us. This is what we like to use. There are other brands out there, other companies out there that make it. We use this stuff called Flow Aid. All right, it comes in this exact box. Now let me pan the camera over so I can show you what comes in this, not a box, a bucket. All right, so what do you get? You get two double end hoses. You get one double end female. Let me see which one. Okay, you get a double end female, and they're, let's see, what would you say they are? They're about 5 foot. Then you get a double end female male. So you get a female male and you get a double female. Then you're going to get the pump. Now, not to make this video so long, you get a male 3/4 inch by male hose, and you see I made it up. Now this pump is, I'm going to go over the pump in a second, plus there is a minimum and maximum flow setting on this. and I'm going to explain why you need this. Then you get some hose washers. You're going to get, what size is this? 32 ounces of Flow Aid. And you're going to get a couple of stickers that we redo these. We make our own stickers, but basically you put your company name here and then you affix it to the wall near the tankless, and it tells you or tells the homeowner when you came to service it. Which is, but we kind of redo them a little bit. All right, so let's get, and this actually is going to replace my pump. With the amount of services that we do, we get about 6 months out of this pump. So while I'm getting these hose washers out, the pump, you can't really use, like go to Home Depot or Harbor Freight and buy a pump, because you want to be able to, you want a pump that is going to flow like 4-6 gallons per minute. All right. What that does is it'll prevent the heat exchanger from the pump going, the solution washing through the heat exchanger too fast. So you want a pump that is going to flow like anywhere from 4 to 6 gallons per minute. So on the top of the pump, you're going to put the double female, because the pump is submersible. Then your other, which I noticed they put the hose washers in. Nope, they didn't put it in this one, but they put it in the double female. So now that your setup is done. Now we always bring another bucket. We don't use this bucket to put the solution and the water in. We always bring a separate bucket. And what else are you going to need? You're going to need a rag. You're going to need some pliers, needle nose pliers. You're going to need a piece of paper towel or a very soft, kind of small, ripped up cotton rag. And I'll show you what that, and then a swab. And you can even go and get a brush. Harbor Freight sells a pack of brushes that you can actually clean the filter out. And this is all for the filter. So let's get the camera back to the tankless. All right, what do you need to do? Well, for those of you that have installed them or have installed your own, and when you plugged it in, you heard that whining sound, that's the water servo valve getting activated. Now, you want to flow some water either by running water in a sink, or if you're in an outside unit, pop the relief valve, let the tankless fire for a second, and then unplug the tankless. The water servo valve will stay open. Now here's a big question that I get from a lot of contractors, a lot of plumbers. They call me or see me and ask me, hey, I just did a brand new house, and I set all the fixtures, I put the tankless on, and I turned the water on, and I get no water from the hot side. That's because the water servo valve is closed. Here in Florida, when we had hurricanes and they lost power, the water servo valve became closed. You can't use your shower because it's pressure balanced. So you need to have pressure on the hot side in order for the shower body to flow water. Well, we had to go with like a battery system. We even used an inverter in our truck, ran an extension cord, plugged the tankless in, let it activate, and then unplugged it, and the water servo valve stayed open. So remember, you may try to flush this thing and you'll be like, no water. You got to activate it. So the best way to do it is to, if you're outside, or if the relief valve is piped outside on an interior, pop the relief valve, let the tankless fire, unplug it. Now, if you did it and set everything up and said, I forgot to, just start the pump. It'll start up the water servo valve, then unplug it. So the pump will be acting like the cold water feed. All right? Okay. So now, we got the water servo valve open. Let's just tuck this wire out of the way so we ain't tripping on it. All right. Now, watch the age of the tankless. Now, these service valves, they're very good. But there are some that have a big handle on it. Aluminum handle, white metal. You got to watch, because I won't service a tankless really over 3 to 4 years old. Because for one, there's been a lot of abuse to the heat exchanger, and there could have been a leak in it when you pump this stuff through. And it could be either the flow aid, or you could use 4 gallons of distilled white vinegar. So you don't have to buy this stuff. Or if you happen to have bought another brand and they sell this type, this is like vinegar on steroids. You're going to mix it with 4 gallons of water, or you could just buy 4 gallons of distilled white vinegar and do the same thing. That's food grade vinegar. All right? So, and they cost about the same amount of money. This is around like $17, and 4 gallons is around $16. So it's about the same amount of money if you're going to do it. And for those of you that are going to do it on your personal tanklesses in your house, you get a bucket with a lid on it, because you can say once you're done, and if you're doing it say you're going to do it every 6 months because it's your personal tankless. Well, that stuff will stay for 6 months as long as you cover the bucket and keep it, somewhere safe. You could reuse that. But you got to also watch the color of the vinegar or the flow aid that's coming out. If it starts getting to like a realish dark teal color, on a tankless that's 2-3 years old, you might just then dump that flow aid, and then if you do use another 32 ounces on the next one. So you got to watch the color that's coming out of it. All right. So, the first thing you want to do, of course, is shut the water off. So, shut off the cold, shut off the hot. Now you have isolated the system from the tankless. And that's why the service ports are above. Then, take off your caps. There's washers in here. Make sure the washer doesn't, affix to this, and then you lose it, especially on an outdoor one. You lose it in the grass. You're going to be up a creek without a paddle. But carry washers with you. If you're a contractor, you're going to have extra hose washers with you. All right. Now you want to relieve the pressure. You relieve the water out of the tankless. Runs out. Now I'm going to raise this bucket up just for video purposes. But on some cases, we have to raise up. I mean, some of these tanklesses, I like them eye level. Some of them are 6-7 feet in the air. We have to put this up on a ladder. So every job is going to be different. All right. So now you take your flow aid, or your solution, or you take your 4 gallons of vinegar. If it's a solution, shake it up real good. Pour it in the bucket. Then take the bucket and, find a hose outlet, find a sink, fill it up with water. Now, take your submersible pump. Now, this pump has a 15-foot cord. Now, on a lot of exterior units, you're going to find, let me just take this wire tie off here. On a lot of exterior units, you're going to find that the actual unit is hardwired in. That's another reason that I like to put plugs on my exterior units so that we can service this. Other than this, we sometimes have to run 100 foot of cord, or I bring a power station with me, a DeWalt power station that has 4 DeWalt 20 amp batteries in it, 20 volt batteries, and I'll run my pump out of it. All right, so now you have your cord. You want to take the pump and put it into the blue, the cold water side. Now you want to take your other hose and you want to put it in the bucket back onto the hot water side. Okay, we're not done yet. Now we're going to take our filter out. So if you have a problem, go to my video on removing a filter or changing the inlet water fitting. Take out your filter. Okay, here's your filter. It's the filter. It's a twist and turn, pull off. Then there's an O-ring. All right? You want to take this black plug part with the O-ring and put it back in the housing, having the filter still in your hand. You don't want to service this with the filter in it, because any debris or any junk that's in the filter is just going to get moved around, because the water passes through here, through the filter, and goes up into the water servo valve. Now, you have the flow aid. Dip the filter in the solution. Take a brush, take the swab out the filter. Blow it out. All right? Then what we do is we take just a shop towel, or like I said, a very thin, smooth rag, and run it through the filter like that. Do it a few times. It'll clean. If you look at the filter, how fine the mesh is. Okay, now you filter. You did your little shtick with the stuff. Take the filter and drop it in the bucket of solution. That solution now, if there's anything else on that filter, it'll now clean it. Okay, so you got your filter out, you have your plug back in with the O-ring, you opened up the water servo valve, you mixed up whatever, whether it be your solution or the vinegar, you have your pump into the cold, out of the hot, back into here. Then you need to open these valves. And these valves are just, they say on or off on most of them. So you want them on, and that's it. They're a quarter turn. So they just take a ball and they move the ball from this way to make it flow, back to close to make it go just through this. All right? Then take your cord, plug it into your outlet. If you have a cup of coffee, if you're a cigar or a cigarette smoker, go have a cigarette. Now, you do want to look inside the unit. You want to see if any damage has been done, especially if you've been called to a tankless that has not been serviced. I'm getting stabbed here with the screws. I had to remake the prop here. Just too many holes. I drilled and too many screw holes in there. You want to look. There's a pot. You might want to remove the fan. Check the fan. Blow it out. You want to maybe peek inside with a flashlight with the burner through the burner hole. You want to look at this whole thing. You want to see how, how much in disrepair it is. Now, of course, if it's a new unit, one that you have installed, and you have explained, see, that's the best thing to do. See, now we're waiting. This thing is flowing. It's not flowing, but you know what I mean. What I explain to my customers, or to someone that has called us because they found out that they need to flush it. Well, how I explain it to them is, do you have a Keurig coffee pot? Everybody's got one. The little one, you put the canister in, pop the thing down, you get a cup of coffee. Yeah. I says, how much did you pay for it? I paid like $225, some, $200, $260, $300. Okay, what does it tell you? Every now and then, if you're a heavy coffee drinker or if you're a light coffee drinker. Well, it says on the screen, it won't work. It says, time to descale the unit. I tell them, you got $1,000 or $2,000 Keurig coffee pot here. And when this thing tells you to descale, so if you get like a 00 code or the thing just isn't working, it's way too late. So you don't want this unit to tell you it's time to descale, like a current coffee pot. And they look at me like, whoa, you're right. Now, on the RUR units, the Sensei units, you can set up the parameters. It's parameter number 3. You can set up the parameters to notify you at 6 months, 1 year, and 2 years that it's time to service the unit. All right, so we now have waited the 30 or 40 minutes. Let it flush through. What you want to do is you want to take this hose out. You want to see the flow coming out of it. It should be a nice, it's hard to either demonstrate it or to explain it, but you want a nice steady flow coming out of it. A good stream, nice steady flow. Keep looking in the bucket and see the color of the liquid, because the liquid's going to be, vinegar is going to be clear. This is going to have a little bit of a really weak tea color, like a weak hot tea color. If it starts turning really teal, and I've had them turn like dark where you can't even see the bottom of the bucket, then you know that it's a lot of junk in there, and you're just going to get rid of the liquid when you're done. Because you can get about, I mean, if you do your own, like if you install them and then in a year, you could probably get about 3 units out of it. 2 to 3, let's just say. But you gotta, like I said, it's very hard to demonstrate or explain it. You kind of have to look and see that color that's coming out. Okay, so now we're done. You did your 45 minutes. You unplug your pump, okay? And once you unplug the pump, you'll actually hear water coming back in. All right, you're gonna take off your hot water line. Now, again, if it's a interior unit in a garage or inside of like a utility room, you're gonna need a lot more rigs and a few more buckets. Then you're gonna take off your pump side. Then reach into the bucket and don't forget the filter. So let's get this out of the way. Don't need this for now. Okay, so you want to pop the relief valve, get the water out, get the solution out, shut off your 2 service valves, and then put your caps back on. Don't need this anymore. All right, then you want to take off your filter plug. Now, make sure, don't just like jump and put this on. Make sure you have the washer on. A lot of times the washer will get stuck in here. And then when you go to put it in, you'll end up with a leak. So look for the washer. Look for the washer and just push it back on. Then look for, if you can see, see the little tabs here? Those tabs, you're just going to spin this until it lines up and turn, and now it's on. You see, I turned it to me. It's off. It's a very slight turn. I don't know if you're seeing it on video. And then back, and now that filter is locked in. You want to also take your swab or a towel and clean this out. You might even want to turn the water on. Put your bucket, or if you're outside, let it just flow. Turn the water on and let water come out of there. Put your finger in there. Feel. I call them barnacles. See if there's any, like in this one, it's an old unit. I can feel little pieces of like the calcium in there. Okay, then put your filter back in. Get it? Just hand tight. Now, turn your cold water on, which I need a pair of pliers for. You'll hear it rush in. Don't plug the tankless in. Then pop your relief valve. You want to get out whatever solution that is in the heat exchanger. get it out. You don't have to run it that long. Then turn your hot water on. Still, don't plug the tankless in. Now go in the house and flush out the sinks. It's great if they have like a big garden tub because you can flush a lot out. A laundry sink, flush them out. Get everything flushed. Again, don't plug the tankless in. Now, what we do, we have two-way radios. So I'm inside the house, my son's outside. Now, I tell him it's flushed. Now he'll either plug it in or put the knife switch in or turn the switch on. If it's an interior unit, it comes with a plug it in. You'll hear the water servo valve activate. Now go around and test fire the fixtures. Because you don't want, because you had the water off, you might have disturbed some junk. It could have gotten up into a shower head or an aerator. And now when you leave an hour, 2 hours, or the next day you get a phone call, hey, one of the fixtures not turning the tankless on because there's gunk in it. Better you're there, better you fix it and clean it. Okay, so now you test fire it, everything works, make sure you got no leaks from the filter, and that's it. That is the procedure to flush a tankless. And that's all you need. Now, if you have multiple ones to do that day, or if you're just don't put the pump back in the bucket. Now, these pumps are designed for this type of fluid. Vinegar and this solution is harsh. So if you just say you find a submersible pump that does around, 700 gallons an hour, 650, somewhere around there, you most likely are only going to get a few services out of it because it's going to soften up, chew up, and disintegrate the impeller. And I know that because we tried pony pump. Right? We didn't read all of this fine stuff in the manual about how many gallons per minute and then know about this. Well, when that tankless is, these companies didn't have these products. So we were using like a pony pump. And we were only getting a few services out of them. And we'd take it apart and found that the impeller was just muck in there. So when you're done, or you get back to the shop, or for you that do it in your house on your own personal tankless, fill up that bucket of water, put this into the bucket, put this into your garden, and pump out like 1 or 2 gallons of water. 1 or 2 buckets of water. Flush this out. This kit is around, well, for me it's like 100, but if you buy it online, it's probably about 120. Okay, so, and I charge 150 to 200 to service it. So with the first, if you're buying it for your own personal use, one of these will save you one service, and then after that, you're saving a ton of money. Then we put it back into the bucket, which I'm not going to put everything away. Then we mark wherever we put. Now, you could put it out on the electrical panel if it's an outdoor unit. I go in, I put the date down, I put what we did, just brief what we did, I initial it, boom, we're done, and we're done with the job. All right, YouTube, so this is the actual tool video for this video. So yes, it is very important, and you need to let your customers know when you get to the job, when you go to sell the job, you get the job, you need to let them know that you do need to service this unit. And hold on a second, I have a manual here. Let's quickly see. We'll get to the page quick. Let's see. I should have had this done. This is all right. See how unprepared I am? I should have done this. This is an older manual. It's normally on page 17. Hey. There we go. It's page 41 on the, this is the RL75 manual, but there's the demonstration of the, can we see? Yes, we can. So this is on page 41, and it's on page, I think, 17 of the RL series. Now, I'm going to hold this in front. You guys can take a screenshot. For those of you that is the part number for the Rinnai filter. I'm going to hold it there a second. You could take a screenshot of it or write the number down. That will get you a standard white filter. Okay? There's two filters. There's a red filter and there's a white filter. On every tankless heater, like I said, whether it be condensing, non-condensing, or condensing, you're going to have that filter what I showed you. They make a red filter for the commercial CHS 199, the Demand Duo. It's got a big holes in it to for it not to get clogged up because it's circulating water through a 119-gallon tank. So there's a pump in there that's moving water. So you want that number, and it's a white filter. All right, YouTube? All right, my email will be below. My the part number will be below. If you want, like I said, I'm not sponsored by anything. So, and this I picked up because we need to replace the one on my truck. So I figured, hey, let's do a video when it's brand new. I don't have to have the gunk on it. Oh, one other thing. For you guys that are going to be doing it, you know, in your business, use only these rubber hoses. Don't use the braided hoses. The vinegar and the solution actually acts, it does something to the braid, and it brings out the braid and it becomes like needles. So you cut up your hand real good. This, you're going to get, you know, if you're doing like what we do, you're going to get only about 6 months, maybe a little more out of it. Just, these are not expensive hoses. They are pressure, but they're not like the braided ones, which are higher pressure hoses. It's not worth the money to spend, and like I said, it kills your hands. All right, so everything will be in the description below. The name of this and the part number for the filter. Okay, YouTube? I hope you enjoyed the video, and you're all being safe out there, and I will see you next week on the next video. Take care now. Bye-bye.